Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so tired. God, that food just kicked my ass. Oh, it just completely gassed me out. 2 minutes just down for the count. Oh, golly. Alright. I do like streaming a lot. It's one of them days. I feel like the audio is a little loud. Wrong one. That's the wrong button. Is this right? That seems right. Hello. I am super tired. Super spent. Hello, Bolty's here. Hello, Syndicate's here. Everyone popping out of. Also, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for tier 1 subscribe. Lone Syndicate, you've been subscribed for 27 months. Currently on an 18-month streak. That's wild. That's way more than a year. Golly. That's madness. Madness, sorry. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I just ate. I was doing real good. I was fasting for the whole day up until around, was it 3 or something? And then I decided to eat. We were good. We were eating. But then there was this cupcake. And it was like the size, this was the ratio of cupcake right here. And then it had like that much like whipped cream, and it wasn't that icing bullshit on the muffin. It was a whipped cream base, and every time I bit it, got all over my nose. And it was delicious. But then everything has a price, and I am done. Especially when you're fasting, because your body's like, we need sustenance, we're fucking losing it, and then you finally feed it, and you're like, this is what you gave us after the wait? This is what you thought was like enough. You stupid idiot. Alright, let's just gas them out completely. Let's make it hurt. Boom. Pedal to the brake. Screw me over. Anyways, enough about me. How y'all's days been? How's your day been? How was it? It was my grandma's early ass birthday today, because family was in town. I was like, yeah, let's do this now. So yes, didn't get to do much today besides that. On a side note, there's so much to talk about. We have a Genshin update. We got a Honkai, not Honkai, what is it called? ZZZ, Zenless Zir, Stat. That. So we have that to talk about, as well as we have Genshin. I think I mentioned that we have, we had Nintendo had their Direct, and then we had God of War Direct, which, man, oh my God, God of War was just so good when I played it. So I want to talk to you guys about that too. Also, Lone Seeker says, bow down to me, mortals, for I have 18-month kill streak, yeah. I'm about to say, turning to Carthage over here. Carthage always been like, hey, get fucked. Like, I'm gonna let it happen, because I am benefiting greatly. Okay. Envelop the ego, etc. What's good, Bolty? How's your day been, buddy? What's good, Lone Syndicate? How's your day been? What kind of things you got up today? Do some art, Lone Syndicate? Bolty, you grind some more Tower of Fantasy? Did you get your foot in the door when it comes to raids yet? Are you still holding back? Hopefully y'all primed and ready to rip when it comes tomorrow, because I got a lot of stuff we need to do in Tower of Fantasy. We have the Fortress Clash, we have the raids, and yeah, also, man, these characters look so goddamn iconic. Crazy looking, also wonderful. Whew. Lone Syndicate says, ZZZZ gameplay. Yeah, it was on a GameStop. GameStop popped in there and popped us out one, which was cool. Also, did I loop this? I did. Look at me. Foresight. How is it, guys? When was the last time you guys ate something sweet? And how does your body handle sweet things? Because sometimes I feel like you can be good. But other times, I feel like it's just up and then you just eat it. Again, I think it's the fasting thing. I think your body really doesn't like being like held back, and then like you give it. I gave it Subway, which is kind of good, and then I gave it, the other one. Also, is it dark? Is this too bright? Let me adjust. The numbers will dissipate. Is that too bright? I think with conversion, it actually might be not as or so bright. Let me know. Or nobody cares. Could also be an answer. Although I do hate this thing on the Zenless Z0 thing. These black boxes. It just takes just so much screen real estate, and I hate it. It just looks annoying. It's like I don't need it to be cinematic when I'm playing a goddamn video game. Lozinga says, my day has been good, and nah, no drama. I'm saving that activity for tomorrow. But I did do some exercising and started a new anime. First of all, hit me with the exercise. What are you doing? What you doing exercise-wise? I've been dabbling with the idea of getting into sandbags. But I also need to chill the fuck out. I have a thing where I keep doing more. I need to just focus on getting good at kettlebells, which could take 5 years. Still, and I've been doing it for 5 years almost. Not 5 years, probably like 3. I need to do kettlebells and slam ball, and maybe mace. But do kettlebell, slam ball, mace, sandbag? Now we're getting a little dicey. Now we're getting a little like rest of your whole life, and if you never see anything, you know. But also, I'm looking at these electric unicycles, and I'm thinking that'd be a hell of a core workout. That'd be wild. Anyways, what's good, Sparks? How are you, Sparks? Hopefully you have a lovely day. Yeah, no, I'm curious. Let's see, what workout are you doing? You doing your classic katana strikes or like martial art sword strikes or sword forms, I should say? Because those will kick your ass too. Them damn joints and shit. Woof. Also, what's the new anime? I still can't believe you didn't know when I was mentioning the show where like there's a blonde kid who has no shadow who's like getting into medicine, and he gets isekai'd. I'm surprised you didn't know the name of that show or like even see it about. I know you're like it's the premise of every show, but I'm like I'm the same mediums as you, and that's not the case. it's at least not this show. I know what it is in my head, so maybe if I was disconnected, I didn't know what it was, and I heard all those prompts, it'd go right over my head, even still. But yes. But yeah, Sparks, how was your day? What'd you get up to? Lone Seneca says, let's see. I focused on legs, followed by some basic source. Fuck yeah. Legs? What you do with legs? You just do air squats with like no weight squats? Man, nobody knows the pain of just doing air squats for like 10 minutes straight. You know what I mean? Like people think air squats, I can deadlift or squat 150 pounds or 200 pounds. And then you just do, like, it's not about that. It's about, like, you having no escape. It's just down, up, down, up, down, up. Which also doesn't sound great for your knees. Because it's just so much. I mean, I guess it's not that bad, given you have enough recovery, but yeah. Bodhi says, every time when I'm fasting, my body always craves rice. A nice warm, no, I fucked up. I don't know why. I seen nice as rice, which actually seems fair. I always crave a nice warm cup of tea after dinner. Huh. I will say though, how long have you fasted, Bolty? Yeah. Let me give you a better question to ask. Have you ever done a 3-day fast, and have you ever done a full day fast? So like one meal a day, in consecutive days. Because I'm going to embark on that starting today, actually. Tomorrow I'm only going to eat once. And yeah, it's weird, man, because like fasting is such an interesting thing because I feel really like good when I'm fasted. Like when I'm starving, basically, my brain's like, but I've also like panic always. Like I've grown up with anxiety my whole life, so I kind of feel like that's my actual normal state of being, is in this like kind of like fever pitch kind of franticness. But it's kind of hard to get that many calories in, like your daily's worth of calories in one food sitting, and you oftentimes have to eat to an incredible extent, and yeah, you like gas out, like that makes sense that you want tea, because I feel like, at least when I'm done fasting, I kind of feel like I'm like, oh, those. But also I also have like, I exercise a lot, and also I've been doing it ever since I was 18, so my body, and also I work out to the extent in which I'm perma sore, so I think I use up all my food, or I have to eat to the extent in which I would feel sick because of the calories that I'm burning, essentially. It's a little not great, but hopefully it'll work out. I'm worried that the whole 1-day fast may not be for people who who exercise to the extent to which I try to, and that's not a good thing, by the way. Like, no one should exercise to the point in which they're not able to recover by their next exercise session, I guess. I know the anime you mean, Appleton. I know the anime you mean, but I don't know the name of it. Only watch clips, right? Yeah, that clip was iconic. The one where he's like, oh shit. He also is like a water god. Yeah, it has such a cool premise of an isekai, because they do such a good job about, like, and I've heard it before, man. I've heard like the whole isekai, like, oh my god, he has the spirit of a god in him. Oh my god. But in this show, in this isekai anime where he's like a doctor, they do such a good job about the world, like because it's never happens with an isekai or any sort of anime where like the main character is actually like is a freak, or like he's super strong or something, where they have these moments where they like the people around him are like terrified, like, because it'd be like literally seeing, if you like, to give context, it'd be like in our world somebody jumping like 30 feet into the air and then landing as if it was nothing, and you're not like, what the fuck? What? Are we getting attacked by like alienoids that happen to look human with fucking weird hops? What's going on? All right. Or it'd be like someone teleporting, and we don't know what that even, only in science fiction weirdness, you know. Anyways, but it does a good job about that. That one scene where everyone's like, ew. Like, stop. Why are you so good at that? This is fucking gross. And not like, oh my god, my thing. It's like, oh, you don't have a shadow. That's fucking creepy. That's hella creepy. And of course, the main character's just a nice, lovable, like, super generous, wanting to heal people, etc. kind of thing. He's a doctor. Anyway. Lone Syndicate says, sorry, Grin. I couldn't think of any recent anime matching that description. God damn it! I was hoping Bolty would come in there and save me, but, but yes. But I wanted you to watch it and see what you think, because it looked like a fun show. It looked like it captured my attention. Ah, man, I'm so congested. Here we go. Here you get a bubble in your chest and a yawn at the same time. But there's good Fluff popping in. How are you, Fluff? Booty says, I am always fasting religiously during Ramadan. Oh, I see. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's built in. Generational fasting built into the system of the person. That makes sense too. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so, well, yeah, you go hard in the paint. Never mind. Yeah, people go, yeah. Yeah. Do you know any, like, have you heard about something, Bolty, called, it's called snake juice, basically, is what, like, its term is in terms of the fasting culture, but it's basically salt, potassium, and, like, Arm & Hammer, essentially, or, like, baking soda, essentially. But it's basically just, like, it lets your body consume salt without, like, it basically stops you from getting hungry, essentially, when you're fasting, so you're not, like, just in agony all the time. That's how I was able to do the 30-day fast, because I was, like, cheat sheet, basically. It says, I did weighted legs. Oh right, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I was like, does Lone Syndicate did he get like a dumbbell or like a barbell or something that I missed? No, you have a gym. You go to gym. You work at a gym. What? Makes complete sense. I did weighted leg lunges. Ooh, lunges will fuck you up. Don't know if there is a term for. No, it's like lunges. Yeah, it's lunges. Fuck, just something light because I haven't exercised. Yeah, man, lunges be the thing that hurts the most, I think, the next day. You know, you can do deadlift, you can do squat. They're all kind of fine, but they're using so many muscular structure that it's fine. Ain't nobody walking like a lunge. Ain't nobody taking kneeling steps every 2 seconds. Your knees and your fucking whole shit is just, ugh. It's just in a whole way of it. Lozing says, but as far as the new anime I started watching, it's called Panty and Stocking with garter belts. Panty and Stocking. Well, I know Panty and Stocking is like a cartoon anime, right? It's like a comedy. I love Boldy's response. Of course, Lone. Never change, please. Of course you are. But I also think I don't know what a girder belt is. That might be like, is that a spinoff or is this an anime? They say it's an anime. I know a panty and stocking is as like a meme show, like a cartoon almost, more than I would say an anime. Am I thinking the right one, or is this a different thing entirely? And also, what is the premise? Because always you could say, hey, here's the name. And it's either going to be a complete description of what it is or absolute bullshit. That's the barometer of anime, all right? Although I work at a gym, I don't go there to work out because I can't be bothered. Really? It's right there. It's for your work. That makes no sense to me. You literally could be like, hey, before I'm going to go out, I'm going to go crush my legs on that press. Or some bullshit. Actually, I don't know what kind of weight. Is it like a CrossFit gym or is it like a classic World Fitness, whatever it is? Planet Fitness, I mean. Because they're very different. A lot of barbell and shit in a CrossFit gym. Flo says, PSG is an interesting show. Came from the same minds that created Evangelion. What's PSG? What's PSG? Oh, is that Patty and Stocking? Is that what that what? The girder belt is a clip that keeps someone's thigh highs from slipping down. No, I knew that bit. But I thought it was. I wasn't sure if this was an anime or if this was. The main three characters are a panty, stocking, and girder belt. Okay, I've always known it as panty and stocking, and they just leave out girder belt. They just leave that out. Okay. Am I thinking of the right one? Panty and stocking. It's more of a comedy than it is like a freak nonsense thing. I'm not sure if I'm thinking of the right one, but it's like an anime it's more of like cartoony meets anime, and one of the characters has like a long as fuck neck, like just a tube coming out of a mass body, and the other one is like, I think really short and stubby, kind of. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the show, if I'm thinking of it right, but yeah, it's funny because you think of like, oh, panty and stocking, ooh, and girder belt, crazy, and it's just like freak show, lovely weird people. Although, Fluff, I've been hearing nothing but good things about the show, the new cyberpunk show that they made. I've heard nothing but good things, and part of me is like, oh, I kind of want to watch it, but I'm also, I've already watched 2 animes, and I want to not forget the premise of them, so I can do a shake or grin or should you watch on them, which some of them aren't great. The first one I gotta make is actually the first should you watch that's kind of like, you can, but you shouldn't. Essentially, I should totally name it. That's the follow-up of the ... Should you watch this ... Because yeah, rough. Anyways, PSG is shortened for panty and stocking and girder belt, and it's an anime, just an unorthodox art style. Oh, is it an anime? I always thought it would look like more of a cartoon than an anime, or maybe it's kind of more of a hybrid, I guess, in the both. Feels like it's in the middle. Edge Runner, yeah, I still need time to watch it, but I'm excited to get in. Yeah. Well, to me, I never really got super into like the, how do I put it? I like the like futuristic cyberpunk thing, but I don't know if I really enjoyed like all of the deep things within it, you know. It's just I'm much more of like a fantasy or like a post-apocalyptic thing, rather than like, well, there's all these people with like fake chins and like cybernetic faces that they just plop out a chunk, and I'm like, okay, all right, nothing is real and it's all okay. I can't grab onto anything is what I'm kind of pointing at. Whereas it's fantasy, I'm like, oh, an orc, an elf, I get it. Different people, all that, you know, or like various type of lenses you can look through. I get that bit. The other stuff is too up in the air for me. But then again, I hear people say that like, no, it's just a good story. Like, even if you take away the whole Edge Runner, cyberpunk, it could still be fun. So I'm like, okay. Only 10 episodes, so it's not hard to, but yeah, it's true. Although Netflix gets you, though. Sometimes Netflix is like, yeah, but these are 40 minutes apiece. Also, man, I had like a little bit of, I I didn't want to start Edge Runners because I knew I might get into it. And I was like, I don't want to do that just yet. So then I had like a plate full of food in front of me, and I was about to sit down and relax. And I'm one of those people that like I can't eat my food unless I have something to watch. So it'll just get cold. I couldn't find anything, and I was like, I can't. No, nobody. You know when you can't. No, if fucking nobody uploads a video ever, like for whatever reason, that one day you're like, oh, I guess I watched them all, or like you're sitting there like there's nothing new to watch. There's nothing good to like. There's like, to me, it's so fucking stupid. But there is like a type or a thing, like a type or a streamlined or a series. This is like type. A type of video that to me is my watch food. No, eat while watching video kind of thing. It's the content that I watch while I'm eating. And yeah, I just have that lens and it slots in really well. For me, it's the Philip DeFranco show. Anyways, so that's what I do when I eat. Get a little bit of the world bullshittery in there, and then I'm done for the day. But I didn't have that because it was like a Sunday or something. And he doesn't do that on the weekends. Anyways, so I went on Netflix and I looked at there's like this new how do you say it? Like it's a new like it's called imperfections or imperfect, the imperfect, and it's basically where like 3 teens like get fucked with, basically. Like they had a disease and some person cured them, but they basically just took out an embryo and put in like another monster embryo. So one is like a succubus, one is like a werewolf thing, hyena thing, and then the other one is like a fucking hearing banshee or something. As you can see, I'm so into it. I watched it thinking, oh my god, dude, monster movie, let's go. I don't know, man. I feel like Netflix is, at least for me, it's been rough. It's been real rough with Netflix. I feel like they always, for me, miss the mark. I liked the show I really enjoyed was The End of the Fucking World. No, that's not what it's called. I don't know what it's called. It's basically like where a girl has telekinesis. That was charming. That was very fun. That was a good Netflix show. Got canceled. Pain in the ass. There's also another show called Daybreak, where like it was all about zombies and it was different enough to have fun. They did some meh things in it, but it was still fun. And now I just feel like I'm like, who is this for? Like I'm always with that question. Either it's like, oh, this is specifically like Riverdale or like Sabrina. It's all for like a specific audience of like preteen, horny as fuck, crazy people just popping off, needing some sort of thing and drama and romance. And I'm just like, as a 25-year-old person who checked out of that shit when I was 15, I'm not into it. Unless it has monsters in it, and then maybe. And even then, if the monsters aren't very cool, then I'm like, fucking, why am I here? Anyways, also, like, yeah, just the whole Imperfects ones. I only watched 2 episodes, so maybe it's stupid good. Maybe it's amazing. But I just felt like it missed. It missed me. I'm not sure if you guys do that on occasion. Or like, Netflix uploaded a new series, I'll give it a 1 episode. Not for me. Okay. This is like the 5th time this has happened, though. Normally, like, 1 sticks. Like, hey, like the one movie with the girl who has telekinesis. That was kind of weird. That was interesting enough. Also, she's going through it. She's also a charming character, girl, whatever. It was fun. Some mannequin locked up. Finally decided to jump on into modding Cyberpunk, mostly focused on giving my V more cybernetic cyber. Ooh, that's awesome. Like super robot, big old arms. Yeah, you never really get like giant cyber arms like the mercenaries have. So hopefully that's cool. Lone Syndicate says it's about these 2 angels who are trying to buy their way back into heaven, and they don't. And they haunt ghosts, and the art style changes throughout the show. Like 1 minute they look like Funko Pops, next minute they look like your standard anime woman. Huh. I've heard way back in the day, I think it was Carthage, maybe Sekedi or Casper, or Quiet, and I think maybe Fluff as well. We're all telling me to watch the show. I've heard nothing but lovely things, but it's always one of those shows where I'm like, it looks funny. I'll get to it. I already got like so many of like the 0 to Hero shows that are like it's like my number 1 slot. And then the second is like comedy, but there's so much of the 0 to Hero that I'm like, I can't even get to comedy, man. I also like some slice of life in there to change it up, but yeah. What was I gonna say? There was another anime that's like I think of in the same vein of that. It's like a cutesy anime that goes hard as fuck. It's like these three, I think it follows like these three preteen, middle school girls essentially, but it's drawn and like it's just cranked up to 100. Like there's an iconic scene in that anime where like this girl takes a deer and just fucking sumo slams it into the ground and like a fucking nuke goes off. Like it's or like they just full on like slap each other in the face. Like it's just the most full contact, full send kind of show. It looks very charming. I know a lot of people have seen that one too and say it's just as good, if not better, because it's just such absurdity animation and stuff that I've heard a lot of people like as well. There's so much things to watch. What's the next mod you're gonna download though, Fluff? Lone Syndicate says it's about. Oh, I read that. Fluff says I think you'll enjoy the show without needing to worry too much about how deep it goes, but it does intrigue itself or entrench itself into the game's world. You can even find the apartment, and so you can even find the I don't know, I think there's like a collaboration with Cyberpunk where they had like you could like go to this side quest to get a text message. Get a text message. Get a text message. You go do this mission really quick. You wait, and then you can basically go and grab get the one guy's cybernetic jacket essentially, which was cute. Do you guys think there's a timeline where Cyberpunk was like as insane as it possibly could have been? Because I feel like Cyberpunk, if you were to like play God and like go back in time and tweak things, you'd be like, hey, don't make it for last gen consoles. It'll be a system seller. It'll be, I know it's gonna suck, but at the end of the day, it's better than like trying to anchor it to old gen consoles and having to give 50 people refunds. Also, development time on that, you could put it into making everything else sharper. Anyways, and also maybe put it in one more year of development. Say fuck them. Hey, people want it to come out now? Fuck them. It's coming out next year, maybe. Guess what? You'll figure it out, and then be fine with it. And then I think, because looking at like the strategy in which, if this all worked out, them having like this works out perfectly. Like a game that's successful, has a modding scene, and then later extrapolates and getting a bigger boom. Stitch, I want to hear about it. I've been waiting for you to pop in this whole goddamn time. I'm waiting for you to pop in so I can ask you about how is the school, how is your boys, your friends you're making, what kind of courses you be getting after in that school. Let me catch up. Oh, but also thank you so much for Twitch. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime, Stitch. Appreciate you. Love the support. Also be subscribed for 6 months. Let's go. Let me catch up on chat before I lose it. I think you wanted to. Fluff says, all right, for one, put aside that it's a Netflix anime because the more important factor are that it's from Studio Trigger, Kill la Kill. Oh shit, okay. Ban, yeah, BNA, yeah. I've heard that one. I was also on the list, man. I gotta watch. And drawn from the Cyberpunk tabletop, 2077 is a high octane with a stunning visuals and charm mechanic. Okay, you're selling me. Lone Syndicate says, wait, the image reminds me of the one as soon as you see. Yeah, you know exactly what. Bodhi says that's what it's called. That's suplex one is neutral. Yeah, I know. As soon as I mention it, people know it because there's no anime that comes close to like its absurdity, and it's also hilarious because it's like just these teen girls who are like just fucking popping off and fully sending it, which seems wholesome. 5 clips. Fluff says, I'm currently, I currently am getting the heterochromia mod, different eye color, along with the main menu replacer, and takes one of the songs uses in Edge. That's nice. If there's a timeline without deadlines, executive and investors, yes. Yeah, that's true. It'd be a lot to like say, hey. I do think though, if they just would have stopped making it for previous gen consoles, it would have been significantly better, because I do think that was a big part of why they were like slow and also why it was like I think if, like in like 10 years when like everything comes out, there's gonna be a documentary where they're like how are we gonna make this go on here? Like what is, like our first demo that was for next gen consoles, it worked. It was at E3. People played it. But then there's fucking stupid, dumb, cunt executives who were like, but what if we put them on what if we put them on old-gen consoles and you figure it out? And they're like, what the fuck? It's just what? You can't just take this and make this fit in there. Anyways, maybe it's not that, but maybe it is. Snitch says, Logan Drost. Oh, fuck me. Drost Ropagan? I want to say it's like... like it sounds like a fucking Targaryen name. Like some sort of Game of Thrones weird shit. What's good, Stitch? How are you, buddy? I missed the nicknames. There's a new one every week. But it keeps it fresh. Your beautiful creative mind is always at work. Fluff says, but it's also a game that likely would have still taken a few more years with realistic exceptions. They didn't even bother to develop the last gen console. Yeah. Oh, that's the, I don't like, to me, I don't know. I think if they would have added, I don't know, man, because I always think about stuff like this, and hindsight's 2020, all that stuff, but I do think they invested in things that I don't think people care about. Like I've always thought this with so many games where I'm like, how many people give a shit about this? Like or how many people even engage with this? Where I think Rockstar nailed it on the head. Where Rockstar knows that like, okay, instead of developing like a bunch of this crazy shit that like, you know, it's like, oh, here's a weapon that's in the corner of the game. Like that's neat and creative. But ultimately, unless you're willing to make a bunch of 3D model weapons for one specific task, and that's kind of rough, what if you just had moments that made like this experience better? So if you go in this area, there's a high probability that this will, in this environmental instance, will happen. And it's all scripted. As soon as you get in there, it queues up, you hear a noise, you go over and see what it is, and then it queues it up. And then you have like all of these crazy memories where like, in Red Dead Redemption, the first Red Dead, you were like skipping across the island, and then some woman said, please come help me, my husband's getting strangled. Then you shoot like the cord off of him so he doesn't die, or it's like a trap. Like there's so many moments like that where like those are the moments that people genuinely care about moments, but the gameplay that people resonate with in other RPGs are like in Fallout 5, the companion system was like one of people's most favorite things, including myself. The housing system wasn't bad, but it was just that it was kind of significantly capped. Like if you had automation, like if you look at the Nexus mod manager, one of the biggest mods ever is called Sim Settlements, because it basically automated the production aspect of your building settlements. You literally just go there, you put down 2 things, you come back in a couple hours of play, and the whole city's fucking built. And you have a ton of money waiting there. And you're like, holy fuck, this is huge. And then you can get more in depth if you want. But still, it's almost like I think there needs to be a person doing research and recon. And I don't think that exists. I think it's just like, let's make a game. Oh, you have experience making a game? Get in here and do it. And it's like, well, wait, do you know what works and what doesn't? Fuck it. Full send it. We know what works. We'll copy what they do. And like, but they also missed a lot. You're going to copy all the bad parts too. And I don't know. Maybe they all work together and I know nothing. That's also probably the case. But I just noticed a lot of those things where I'm thinking, I think if you could cut all this bullshit away and you were just left with the main thing, I think people would be quite over the moon. Stitch says, I just came back from hitting the city with friends, hell yeah, which is why I'm up late and able to catch the stream, hell yes. Stitch says, I also finished making my first video, let's go. As the guy who has never edited anything before, I used one day filming and used like 5 editing. What do you mean? You mean like, oh yeah, you film one day and yeah, Stitch, you've learned the biggest lie that was ever started, I guess. But if you make gaming content and you make videos and you're like a video person, you are not a gamer. You're not a watcher of TV shows. You're an editor. You are an editor. 80% of your time is editing, and that's not even getting creative. That's just making it streamlined in some way and making it even kind of watchable, but not really watch. Yeah, it is like one of the biggest things where I remember used to always see that back in the day where people were like, oh my god, so you guys you play games and record it, and I'm like, I'll strangle you. Like, it's like, actually no. I spend 5 to 6 hours editing a day. Me. And I don't even like me that much at the time. And yeah, it's a lot. Editing is the big pooba. And honestly, it kind of needs to be. The only thing I would say is that I would divvy it up a little bit. I would say, I feel like now in my head, well, yeah, it's 50-50 because you need to gain momentum and gain competency in whatever you do. So you do need to do it a lot. But I feel like for me, and I think eventually you'll get to this point too, one step I think you should get in there is prep, essentially. So like there's production, and then there's post-production. Production is like filming, and then again after that is of course editing and all that stuff. So there's like filming the video, getting all its resources, and then there's editing it, and then there's uploading it and optimizing it, which is like tags, thumbnails, all that stuff. But then there's pre-production, and that's one that I think is even more valuable. And it's kind of what we're talking about in terms of like games, which is like understanding what worked for other people and then optimizing your idea before you even started piecing it together, so that you can kind of hit the ground running and not like go backwards, forward, record a lot, and then take it all out because it's not actually working because it conflicts in some way. So like the prep actually makes it so the whole process goes faster. But yeah. Sparks says, anyone watch the Valorant tournament? Ooh, I haven't. How to be, Sparks? I've heard Fluff might. I don't know if Fluff's a big avid watcher of esports. I do think he does play Valorant a good bit though. But I'd be interested to hear what that's all about. Stitch says, I have almost finished making my first video. Oh, almost. Okay, you bet. Hey, Stitch, you son of a bitch. You better fucking throw that in the Discord so I can see it. I'm so curious, Stitch. I know it's going to be a pain. I know you just got back with your boys hanging out. But I'm so curious. How has the schooling system laid out? What is it trying to get from you right now? Like, if you were to pull yourself back and say, what is it trying to get us to achieve right now? Is it trying just to get us comfy and cozy and like making videos? Has it been trying to condition us to analyze what's working? Has it conditioned us to, work with our friends, work in groups to piece together? Because it's to be everything. Like, this is what I'm kind of, it's like what you have an extreme advantage in is having friends. One of your friends could have an extreme proclivity for editing. Another friend could have an extreme proclivity for research, essentially, which is just understanding what's currently working in the way that your idea can be fluid in that direction as well. And other people are great at like tags, metadata, thumbnails, what people will click on. So like each person might have like a proclivity, and it's either you got to learn from them or try to work with them so that you can benefit from them. I think the ultimate goal should never be to obfuscate responsibility and just like make me a good clickable thumbnail. It should be to understand what that person is doing and their thought process behind doing it. But yeah, rant aside. It's so cold. That sounded horrible. Oh. Fluff says, I don't really watch esports that much at all. No, yeah. I figured as much. I like esports, but like I'm not sure if I'm big into tournaments. I'm big into like watching high level people play. I'm much more in like, let me see what you look like in comparison to normal people, because it's just like, fuck, it's crazy. Whenever you see someone really good at a game, we're like, what? But when you see good people versus good people, it kind of just like this. It just like feels like they just subtract each other. Like they're less impressive because everyone else is good. It's like in a world full of exceptional people, you need to be above exceptional, and even then, kind of like sort of the way it is. Bodhi says, I only watch a regular League and a little TFT when it comes to Riot. I see. Fluff says, I mostly watch more casual coverage of esports type games like Maximum Dude for fighting. Yeah, fighting games are also pretty cool. Those are one of the ones where like it just does seem Yeah, I still prefer like watching a like, what is it called? There's like a series, like various series on YouTube. You know how it's like lawyer reacts to this, you know, hairstylist reacts to this. It's like esports guy reacts, or even like esports guy plays, insert whatever game he has a natural proclivity to, like FPSs for the first time, and he just dunks on people, and you're like, oh my god, this, I don't know, something cool about polarity. Stitch says, I have already learned a lot of mistakes with making this video, with prepping. I will be a decent video. It will be a decent video, I believe, but planning out some shots a bit more would make it. Yeah. I'm so. What is it? What's the type? Can you just tease a little bit? What's the type of it, Stitch? Is it like a vlog? Is it like a essay kind of video, like a essay kind of video on a topic that you're interested in? Is it like a gaming thing? I feel like you got a camera, right? So you probably aim towards more of a vlog type situation. But I can't wait. Also, Stitch, Stitch, I haven't, well, I'll wait, because this is kind of a weird aside. But if you're doing vlog stuff, you might, well, I'll wait. I'll wait to talk to you about it. Fluff said, also, whoever is doing the animation for ZZ deserves a raise. They're so bouncy and expressive. Oh yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, ZZZ looks like it has some of the best, like, world creation ever, but it's also not like Genshin, which is like huge. It's just like, how about we condense all of our talent into a tiny area and run it, you know? Also, forgive me for dogs popping off for a little bit. Bodhi says, indeed they are. All the characters are bouncy and lovable, and I feel like they move, like walk normally. Fluff says, also regarding ZZZ, whoever you want to see and hear from most, pick the opposite to play as. Okay. Oh, okay. So I'll have to not play Ogre Girl if I want to hear from Ogre Girl? Well, what the fuck, or Oni Girl, I should say. Here we go. Stitch says, we have a subclass here. Production for social media and YouTube. Most of the stuff we've done hasn't been very YouTube specific. And our actual teacher starts next week. Interesting. Okay, so they're breaking it into, like, that kind of makes sense, because you're basically learning like baseline. Well, it seems like you're learning baseline things to like teach you another way. Like, again, like the idea of like recon research. What is that? You like, and just knowing the foundation of what that is. You could go to Twitch, you could go to Instagram, you could go to YouTube, and just, it's about understanding what's working and understanding who your audience would ever be. And also understanding what kind of what you want to create as well, because that's the thing. You don't want to, like, well, I guess I'll try vlogging, and you have no interest in vlogging, but you know what to do with a good vlog because you've done enough research. So then you do it, and it explodes, and then you're like, oh, actually, I don't like vlogging. I was just trying something. Oh my god, it's working so well. And then you're like, well, I'll go leave that alone, and I'll go do gaming. But then gaming doesn't work as well, and you're like, do I go back to the thing I hate, or like, or don't even care about? And it's kind of like, oh fuck. So you're in a weird place. But anyway, it's kind of a fucked up thought. But Stitch says, like, next week the whole class has been split into teams, and we're gonna make media posts for a festival here, like a media team. Yeah, Stitch. To be in a room. You have no idea how I feel about this. But to be in a room filled with other psychopaths trying to harness air, essentially, to try to understand the variable that is human beings and what they enjoy and what excites them, which is evolving over time, more or less, around a bunch of, being surrounded by people that are all kind of trying to work in the same direction, like, regardless of what the school teaches you, if it's a little bit dated or if it's a little bit off, or if it's just the best, who knows. The idea that you're surrounded and you're making friendships and, like, people who are all interested in the same thing, and again, could have a proclivity for one thing or another. Some people could be great at editing, some people could be great at thumbnail creation, all those kind of things. That's something I heard for the longest time about film school, where so many people actually, they don't really talk about, like, film teaches you, like, the baseline stuff that you can just understand if you've watched film, like this camera shot, this technique, watch some sort of indie developer and you'll be fine. But the things that I do talk about is just the connections of other people who are in the industry. When they get a job as a lighting guy, then you can come work for them, and then maybe the director sees you, or you can look at the director and see what's going on there. But this one is way better, I think, because it's actually showing you how from the ground level to build something that you can then foster. You're not trying to build off of others, which is, I think, the issue with a lot of like Hollywood stuff. But yes. But before we get into this, Stitch, I want to ask you one thing. Stitch, if I have a question for you. If also Rasta, I have a question for you as well. If you guys, how do I phrase the question? Okay, you have a electric bike, you have an electric unicycle, you have a big one wheel is called, you have an electric scooter, you have an electric longboard. Which one out of all of these has made the biggest technological stride in the last, let's say, year? Bodhi said, here we go again. Here we go again. Listen, Bolty. Alright. Yes. Listen, you fuckers. Leave me be. You've been with me this whole week. These people just got here. Go in the corner. Okay, go in the corner. Vibe for a minute. Rasta says longboard. Good, solid question. Solid answer. That's the one I thought too. I thought the same thing. Longboard. I was hoping it'd be longboard. I thought it'd be longboard. I was hoping it would be. Kind of a spoiler for Stitch's answer, but yes. Anyways. I'm waiting for Stitch to reply. He's leaving me hanging. Stitch says, before that, he says, well, actually, let me catch up on what Fluff says. A more condensed experience is nice, and it can be refreshing for an open world sandbox being less as deep. Yeah, they can like anchor around the things that people are going to do over and over again and make those even sharper. I mean, not quite. I mean, the two heroes here in town, especially playing the guy if you want to see the girl and hear her speak more of the time. Oh, I see. Weird. Okay. This makes sense. You have a voice in your ear. Stitch says it'll be a gaming video mixed with some real life challenges. Ooh. It was a video I'd watch that no one else had created yet for this game. Okay. That's also a good thing. The pre-text question of that. I wonder if your teachers gave that to you or if you just did that. But it's one of the questions that's the most freeing for like creating content. Is there's two questions in the book that I was reading, which was, would my viewer even, or would my audience, whatever it is, my ideal viewer, would my ideal viewer click on this video? And hell, would I even click on this video? And the same thing can be said for watch time. Would my viewer watch this video? Or hell, would they even watch half of this video? Same content, same question. So if you can answer that and with a yes or a no, then yeah, you can tell but that's a good question. Like, oh, I'm lying to myself. This is I wouldn't even click on this, and also your audience could be polarizingly different. So that's why you gotta also specify, would the person that I'm making this for actually be engaged with it, or click on the thumbnail, or be excited by it, etc. Vice versa, if you'd rather see the guy talk. Yeah, I see what you're saying. For next drawing, I think it'll be a vamp. Ooh, a vampire character. Okay. Fluff says for in-game stuff, play whoever you like. I see. But it's just the voiceover you're hearing me talking. Gotcha. Ross says, hey Grin. Help! I'm getting hooked on Omega Strike game. Is so. What's that? What's Omega Strike? Bodhi's it. Yeah, here we go. Get longboard. Stitch is yet to reply. Stitch reply. I did not pay attention to those options you listed. I Stitch. Alright, it was okay, Stitch. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I was gonna lead you a little bit, but fuck it. No one's got time for this, especially people who've heard it for the 5th time. Basically, your boy went down the rabbit hole. I checked out electric longboards, everything, scooters, everything. I did it because I seen a Casey Neistat video popped up, and I thought, holy shit, what's gonna be the weird thing with longboards? Did they get incredibly good? Did they become much better? No, they kind of shit the bed. They kind of just took the momentum that it was generated for them and stopped. It just did not get better. It got a little bit better, but it didn't like solve a lot of the issues. So I was blown away at the conclusion that I came to after watching like hours of videos at this point, which was what is the best electric transportation, it seems like. I was hoping it'd be longboards because it makes the most sense. They had a huge push from Casey Neistat. A lot of people bought those boards, but Boosted Board just kind of sat on their laurels and didn't do anything. All this stuff happened. And what I came to the like shocking conclusion of was even in combination with like electric bikes kind of get close, but anyways, and then electric scooters, not even close. Even like big wheels do good. But the thing that crushed, the thing that was like unarguably the best transit type thing was weirdly enough an electric unicycle. It had like the best speed, it had the best distance, it seemed like it had the best control. It looks dangerous, but it's actually way more safe than the other ones, surprisingly. No, granted, if you're not going extraordinarily fast, like 60 miles per hour, which is what some of them can go up to now. Anyways, but I thought the reason why I brought that up and I thought of it is because Stitch mentions doing like video content, and I always thought that would be, it's like, especially if you watch people like ride around on these, you know, electric unicycles, and they have a self-actualizing thing, so they stay upright by default almost, so you don't have to really balance an incredible amount. You do have to know how to lean back in your heels and lean forward, but anyways, I digress. The reason why I bring it up is because I think that'd be such a good, if you were doing any sort of vlogging or real-time content, that'd be such a nice filming metric. To film and like actually be able to like squat down and get crazy shots like that and these movement things. So I thought that also if you live in a city, it's like it's stupid good, because you sure shit can't drive around in a vehicle because, well, depends on the city, I guess. But even still, if you're you're in an apartment complex and you want to scoot around somewhere, it feels like that'd be a really good place to just kind of get by really fast. Also, the things can go through, this is something that's crazy about them, the like electric unicycles, is they can go through snow. I've seen them like plow through 3 inches of snow. It's fucking crazy. They can go through sand. They can go through gravel. They can literally. This is the crazy thing, man. I went deeper in the rabbit hole, by the way. I've seen these fucking unicycle things, an incline this fucking deep, like some goat shit on like a 90-degree angle. They can walk up it. I've seen people climb up this 90-degree angle almost on a unicycle, flawless. I've also seen people literally like lean back and just completely rip down something that should have just like fell right back on their back because of the way the gyro thing works to keep you upright, and the way that these people have such fucking insane body control. Dude, it's wild. Anyways, I thought it'd be a fun thing to look into. It's probably not, well, actually, yeah, you can get some of them not too expensive, actually, depending on the one you get, especially for just like puttering around the city. But anyways, it's something that I've been, I keep getting like bored a little bit, and I have a little bit of extra time because I'm not like learning so much stuff. I'm just applying it to where I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go into this rabbit hole, and this is the one that I haven't felt bored by, and that's dangerous because when I get into something, I get really into it. When it doesn't break that too quickly, it's a lot. Anyways, Alonso said, I didn't want to go in the corner. The corner is the dark place. The corner is a dark place because don't be selfish. Okay, the corner is a selfish place, okay? It's where Casper used to be talking all kinds of filth. I always remember Casper would go on like a tear, or Quiet would go on a tear, talking about how degen stuff, and I'm like, I just feel like I'm sitting back in the corner, like what's happening in my chat. Rasta says electric bikes is just a bike with wires on them. It's very it's like, yeah, I know, that's the other thing. My brother was showing me something that he was saying that like electric motorbikes are like, it's hilarious because electric bike used to, like, I grew up in the age when like they were horrible. And now they basically look like quads, like very, very light quads. And yeah, and they're technically bikes, so you can like bob and weave. You have to go as fast as it's crazy. But also they're heavy. But also they're pretty light. It's weird. It's like if they're not as heavy as like a steel engine, but they're still pretty heavy batteries. So yeah. But it's on electricity, yeah. Stitch says, I did not pay attention to this question listed. Rasta says, but now my question, which is what? Which is bought more? Oh, which one is bought more? Interesting. I think, I would say the one that's bought more is probably, there's two. I would say it's, scooters are having a glow up, because they perceivably have less barrier of entry, but they don't. You can still eat a rock and then fucking smash your face. Which cannot be said for the unicycles, because they just can jump over a rock or even like a ledge or whatever. But I think the one that has the best track record is specifically it's the one that came after boosted, which is the one wheel. The one wheel, I do believe right now has the high that and hoverboards, just because they were like a Christmas gift, and they were just expensive enough just enough, not as expensive to basically make them some people buy them. But yeah, no, I think it's the one wheel, I believe, is the one of the best selling ones. As far as the best, like, cheapest alternative, that also seems like the one wheel. That seems like the lowest price for some of the one wheels, not generally. Yeah, no, I shouldn't say the pricing is a little weird, because there's some like electric boards that can go pretty like below $400, $500, essentially like that, $300. I think I seen one of them, and that was pretty good. Had pretty good torque. Didn't have that much high speed, but it was still fun, plenty enough for you to putt around. But also, like, the reason why people use the electric longboard is because you basically just lean and you move. It's not like a board where you have to kind of. It's weird, like it doesn't turn by itself, you know. But yeah, I'm not sure about that question. I'm not sure which one would be Ross. Did you have any inclination to what would it be? Fluff says, essentially, the opposite character becomes your Paimon. Oh, okay, that's a very good angle. That's what I thought what you were trying to say. It's like you have a person in your comms talking to you a bunch. So, gray-haired guy as a playable character makes the girl the one that speaks the whole time. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I wish you could change the look of the character, though, because I think the girl looks hella cute, and then the guy dude just looks like a kind of a goth boy, essentially. Vice versa, rather, didn't I? Yeah. Stitch says, all my 5 other YouTube classmates have made kind of random vlogs, like a day in the city, with random editing. But all tips for YouTube. Videos I've seen have said that that's pretty much the content least likely to succeed. That's my boy! That's my boy! Well done! Yes! Sorry, it's just one of those things where I was like, again, one of the things I heard recently, Stitch, what I thought was really cool, as far as YouTube things go. I bought the expansion course for my my book, essentially, which was like $15. It wasn't the like course. It was just like here's another couple videos, and it's one of them is him, the guy who wrote the book, interviewing Mr. Beast. And he talks about, like, well, one of the things you do by recon research and all these things is, or just watching YouTube, not necessarily as a viewer, but watching it as like why content is succeeding and what it's doing, etc. And like if you do that enough, you'll start to see patterns, and you'll start to say, oh, this is something that just by human nature is like very interesting and clickable. So he gives the example, which I thought was really clever, because he's always Mr. Beast is always a kind of a person that's like, well, in order to be successful, do you have to reinvest 100% of what you make into the content? Do you need to like do crazy challenges and like harm yourself or put yourself on the line in order to get like accolade? Because you don't want that either. So that's always something that's kind of debated with him. If you look at his older content, it's like, it's not even an argument. He's just like, it's like he's a crazy kid like sawing a table in half with like plastic knives, like a weirdo, which is awesome. But anyways, he gives the example of like, you need to make something that's interesting to people. Like there's things that will get 1 million views and there's things that won't. So then he gives the video premise of, okay, 24-hour challenge in your backyard. He's like, let's say that's your video. He's like, okay, that video, who cares? Who gives a shit? Like, you're in your backyard, 24 hours, okay, camping, I guess, could be cute, maybe. But then he's like, if you say 24 hours in a desert, that's pretty clickable. That's pretty different. And then he's like, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, you don't even need to be in like a stupid, sketchy desert. Like, you could just literally be like a couple minutes like away from civilization with like a nice, like, you could literally buy like an Etsy house. Not an Etsy house, like, not buy, you could rent a, like a, not an Etsy, what is it called, it's like you can rent a home for a couple days, forget what it's called. You could rent one of those and like just go set up shop, and you and 3 of your friends could like just kind of make jokes, MacGyver around, maybe have some challenges along the way. And I think people wouldn't be like, you lied to me, you didn't almost die in the desert. No, it's like, no, you're still sleeping in the desert, you're probably still seeing like a scorpion or a spider, you're freaking out, etc. But it was the idea of like, oh, you only had changed like 2 things, like maybe a commute, a car ride, opposed to your backyard. But one was infinitely more clickable and more enjoyable, more interesting than the previous one. I shouldn't say more enjoyable, it's more interesting. There's like, yeah, like people would click on 24 hour in the desert opposed to 24 hour in your backyard. So it was like just that, and they're very similar. They're like it's like, hey, I'm going to do something, but it's just the place in which you do it can ebb and change. Same thing is like, oh, I'm like camping in the snow for 24 hours. What you're not saying is I'm camping in my backyard with a small tent that my dad had that, and I'm going to be sitting there in the snow making jokes for 10 minutes or maybe 30 minutes, and then be editing that down into maybe 10 minutes. And then I'm going to be like creating a thumbnail halfway through that experience, me caked in snow and freezing, even though I'm just going to like wipe off the snow because it's actually not that cold out here. Because yeah, and like you can see how you can have a cool premise that's interesting to click on, and then just customize the experience through editing and through, of course, having challenges and having other kind of story development threads throughout the video that make people engage and still feel like it's worthwhile. And that's kind of the whole bread and butter of that whole thing. But to me, it just made me think of what you were saying about like a lot of your classmates just did like, exploring the city or like a day in the life. Who cares? Who cares a day in the life? You could say a day in the life of like an extreme sports person. That's kind of interesting, but it's not as interesting as you saying the thing that's the most interesting aspect of that day. Whether that's like waking up every morning and doing like a 10-mile, like a 50-foot jump or something. If you're a BMX or a whatever thing, or not 50-foot, like a 30-foot jump, and you have a thumbnail with a dude halfway in the air, and then you intro the video saying, I've been doing this for like 15 years. This is a part of what I do just not to get rusty every single day without fail. And that's something that can keep people hooked. And then of course they want to know what everything else comes with it. What do you eat every day? How do you keep your body in tune with this? So like you can build off of that interesting concept in a way that creates content that makes things more interesting, I guess. And yeah, but also you always need to look at data, which is helpful, because I feel like you can also lie to yourself enough and be like, well, this is what people want. This worked for him. And it's like, no, it worked for him. You need to find out how to make something unique and interesting that you're passionate about, that you're excited about, or else people can detect that. People can detect when you're like just synthetic and like not honest and you don't really give a shit about it, and stuff like that. So you also need to do something that's in line with passion, which is why I think it's so helpful to just constantly do research and recon all the fucking time, so that you can kind of just passively nurture that brain that's like, well, this is a cool idea, and it also would work because we've kind of have a baseline of data that shows that would sequence, Does that make sense? Hopefully. I gotta drink some water. I'm dehydrated as fuck. Jeez Louise. But Stitch, were you saying that like some people were making like a YouTube, like how to do YouTube tips? Because that's the shit that to me makes me laugh, but also I kind of get it. Because like when you're always thinking about how to format stuff and succeed, you want to like share that with other people because it's like, this makes sense, right? And it, like if it doesn't, like tell me. And it works for somebody usually. Thank you for the rocks. Appreciate you rocking rocks at me, Sparks. But yeah, like to me, I understand like the whole, here's how to do YouTube without not actually having done YouTube. And I say it as a person who's like completely understands I should not be talking about what people want or all these things. I'm basically talking to me when I say these things because I think they're interesting, and I kind of use you guys as a jumping off point, essentially, to feel out if I'm off in some way. But yeah, although Stitch says, though most of them just want to have some fun and document their lives, but I have aspirations of getting somewhere and conquering a bit of you. Yeah, that's a good idea. Although I will say, Stitch, I lost this a little bit. I didn't want to really talk about it because I felt like it was probably a little bit too real for for some in some regards. I already got way too real with you guys when I was making that video that we made. But yeah, it was one of the things where like you can't lose passion. That's like one of the things, like as much as data is interesting, it can be very helpful, and it all has a purpose. And you don't want to create for anybody. You want to create for the people that will give you a time in the day, the people that will like that feel filled by this cool thing that you've created, this idea, that laughed at it, that showed up for it, that would fight for it to some extent. Those are the people that you want to also make something for. But you can't lose the other denominator in there. That it's the passion behind what you create. One of the better things that I just seen recently was PewDiePie made a video that basically saying that he retired like a year ago, 2 years ago, and he was saying that he's basically in his retirement, but he just continues to do what he's passionate about. And oftentimes when you get like lost, basically when you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing wrong, I feel unmotivated. I used to feel like I'm running at like full clip, and now I feel like I'm kind of like flattening out essentially. I don't like this feeling. I want to keep my momentum. What's going on? And oftentimes it's because you've lost your way a little bit. You're focusing on things that don't actually give you steam. And one of the things that he said, which I thought like rang true to just about everybody's experience, especially anyone who grew up doing Let's Plays, which I did a lot of, which is your core passions, your core principles in which spring off content from. And one of those for PewDiePie, and I would agree that with me as well, is I want to share my experience with others. I want to share the good experiences that I have with others. So when you're, instead of like mapping out exactly what would be successful and trendy and like how to do all this synthetic kind of data aggregation and stuff like that, which is good. It's good to have an understanding of how to optimize to make people happiest and make people resonate and feel the best about your content. But simultaneously, it is incredibly, if not paramount, that you still are authentic, because people will figure that out. People will be able to find unauthenticity within you. They'll be able to tell when you're actually not interested or excited into things. People are way more observant or intuitive than people give them credit for. I think the only people who are getting more and more clever with all the manipulation out at this point. So you still need to be true to what you want to do and what makes you feel meaningful. So as much as I do think it's funny that your classmates had the things, I do think that's something that you should hold clearly right now, because you don't want to become a robot, and you also want to make sure you have something that, like, what happens when the data dries up and your motivation is dead. Are you gonna be one of those people that say I'm burnt out and I'm done, or are you gonna be one of those people that say, well, wait, what? I lost my way. I shouldn't be running out of energy right now. I should just need, if my source of energy, I've lost it. What was that again? Oh, it was the simple experience, or the simple idea of, I want to share my experience with the world. I want to share my experience with people who would give me the time of day. And then from that point, you can say, well, okay, how can I share my experience in such a way that people actually have a better time, that people are more engaged, that are more satisfied, that are more happy that they won on the journey. And of course, that's engagement optimization and click rate and all these things. But it's like, I think it's good to start from that point, that like solid human foundation of wonder and passion, then this synthetic, like, I made this because it was trendy, it was good, and I think people would have clicked and found it and watched it, because you'll burn out on that. Or worse, you'll just become a husk, and people will be able to find that out, or feel that, I think. But yeah, definitely a balancing act. For a week there going, I was, it didn't help that I got sick at the same time. So I wasn't sure if I was sick and I was unmotivated because my brain was just half capacity, and I had like heat flashes like crazy, and I was not well, or if it was because I also was unmotivated because I got too obsessed with the data and didn't anchor myself back down to what was truly meaningful, what was truly the goal that I wished to achieve. Which in that regard was, the things that to me, like, a guy came into our chat, which was a lovely person, by the way, not just a guy. He was a person I used to play Destiny with a lot, and he was a viewer of mine that was wonderful. He's called Future Man, and he basically said, one of the things I used to say a lot when I was just starting out on YouTube, or not even just starting out, when I was pretty into it, I used to always say, because especially back then when I had like nothing going for me, basically, I used to always say, well, if I could make one person happy or make one person smile, then I would consider that to be a good day. And on the days when I was eating it, just failure after failure, feeling like grinding my ass off, aiming in the wrong direction and getting nowhere, shocking to nobody, that was the thing that made me feel like I could keep doing it. And of course it was like, well, wait, who is this made for somebody? Yes. Did you optimize for them? No. Well, did we make something for them? Yeah. Did some people like it? Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. You know what I mean? And of course, I think it's about building off of a passion in the direction of the path that will succeed, rather than just building for the path that will succeed and having no foundation of passion or desire. But yes. Also, Ross says, I don't know, but I think they should be bought more because it's riding with style. Which one? The bikes? The bikes or the unicycles? Would you try the unicycle, Rasta? Would you ever consider it? Or even do you like, what are you talking about, unicycle? Because I know a lot of people actually don't know about them, and you'll see them, and at first you'll be like, this is kind of looking derpy, and then eventually you'll be like, shit looks clean. Shit looks kind of like futuristic and shit. It's like a half and half. Stitch says, editing a video has so many specific quirks to learn. Not having a dull moment, using music and audio effects to keep the viewer engaged. Yes. And to be and have it be visually interesting. Just about everything I've wanted to do a Premium Pro, I've had to search and learn. Yep, Premiere Pro, you mean? Yeah. Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah. Although I will say, I think that's something that I'm starting to see a lot of, and when I'm constantly looking at like data aggregation, simplicity is the best, but also you need to use simplicity more, is the best way I could describe it. Like when I'm analyzing and I'm constantly breaking down channels now, one of the ones that to me is like one of the better ones, but it's also like, it's apparent, and it's also kind of disenchanting when you eventually notice it. But also it's like, I feel like 90% of the population doesn't notice it. So yeah. But anyways, maybe it's also because you're in recon mode that you're trying to notice stuff. But one of the channels I was breaking down was Mr. Beast's gaming channel. And you'll notice, at least I noticed, at the very beginning of his videos, he'll fucking front load so much edit and so much, not even complex edit. It's not like it's necessarily crazy, but what it is, it's a fuck ton of movement. It's a lot of movement, snappiness. It's like almost like he edits and speaks in such a way that they're like just bullet point movements, where it's like boom, 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 boom. And I feel like that actually might be a misdirect, but he probably knows better. But I do feel like it's probably a little bit too front loaded with craziness. I think it's like it seems like he's building off of like the goldfish attention span, where like you need to constantly be seeing movement in order to engage. I don't know if that's entirely true, but he seems to, his editing would hint that he does. But anyways, it's like the value proposition within his video is really strong, and it pulls you in. But I also noticed that it's not like too complex. It just seems like adjustment. You're basically, a person needs to constantly be seeing something new, but also sitting with it for seemingly 15 seconds. I could go really into like the deep nitty gritty, but it seems like every 15 seconds there's a point of movement on the screen, whether that's like a slight zoom or an adjustment. This is also for gaming content, mind you. But also I think I could tell, it's like I could tell the difference between audience. Like for him, there's very much a specific type of audience I could tell who he's going for, whereas a person who's a little more older, maybe in regards to like, I think more of like a fluff person and a lone syndicate kind of person, where I think they would be, maybe even a lot of you guys in the chat too, Rasta, etc. You would have a higher proclivity for someone who, yeah, maybe has a lot more like editing in the very beginning, but then eventually it tapers off and gets more like storytelling / sequenced, to where it's less about like and instead it's about like smooth pulling you in like a weird lullaby, almost like slowly dragging you in, rather than like instead it's like come on, come here, what about this and this and what about that, and it's more of these like almost like a symphony person going to town. But yeah, there's no shortage of things to do when it comes to editing, for sure. It's also one of the things that like, it's weird because some types of content do not exactly align themselves with what you need to do. Like for me, one of the things I want to do, and I want to get in the habit of doing eventually, I'm trying to get cozy again in making content at a crazy pace, which I've kind of fell out of because of the book that we did so much reading about, But I want to get back to basically doing content, but I want to also get back to doing a 2-pass, which I haven't done in a long time. And it's basically like watching your content, editing and all that stuff, and then going and doing a 3rd pass after you're done doing all of your ads and stuff like that. After you're doing the rough edit, it's a lot, anyways. But doing the 3rd run through, where you're basically like seeing how your viewer would react in moments like this, and be like, okay, they're probably getting bored here, even though I wasn't, because I'm trying to like piece together madness. But yeah, Stitch said the thought of burnout is long gaze right now, as I'm only working on one video and enjoying both filming and editing. Yeah, I just think that I hope it makes sense at the very least, of like whenever there's a moment when you finally do feel a bit of fatigue, it's good to it's just good for everything, Stitch. I think it's good to have a baseline or some sort of northern light or lighthouse that is keeping you on track of what you're actually going. Because this is the thing, you could be making videos that are super trendy and doing well, but you hate what you create, and now you're stuck making just the thing that you hate, and then it'll become synthetic, and it'll become a little bit yucky. So yeah, I feel like it could get a little bit bleh. It could get a little bleh pretty fast, you know. So it's always good to be like, oh, what do I want? My end goal is to have enough to support myself, is also to put away enough money to where I could retire earlier, because I don't know when this train is going to stop. It's also to have meaning and purpose in what I do. You know, that could be your baseline. So then you could be like, wait, do I need to be doing like this crazy trendy stuff, or could I take a deviation and aim at somewhere that I'd rather be? Okay, there's that. Do I also maybe none of those are your end goals, and one of your end goals is I actually just want to enjoy what I'm creating, and then also have other people enjoy what I'm creating. And then you're like, okay, well, one thing's out of whack. I'm not creating from a place of passion. I'm creating from a place of data, and synthetic data at that. And that I find seemingly doesn't exactly work, or if it does, I just notice people just peak and then crash, because you need a little bit more than just data, I think, you know. Stitch says also being on a camera probably for the first time was both fun and slightly awkward experience. The awkward mostly came from watching it back and editing out the non-funny part. Yeah, a lot of it is gonna be it's hard to see. It's hard to describe. It's almost impossible to describe. A lot of your first on-camera experiences is going to be, I promise you're not going to be able to truly, well, first of all, you're probably criticizing yourself in terms of the awkward bits. But in some regards, you're under-criticizing yourself for some awkward bits as well. Because like when you're filming stuff, and eventually you get comfortable with like, okay, this is just what I am. This was the joke. This was the setup. It kind of worked. The timing wasn't that great, but whatever. Maybe I can add some punchy editing. It can work out, whatever. But then you may need to look back. When you look back at yourself, you'll be like, oh, this was way off. Like, like even like, cause you're so close to what you're doing that it's very hard to realize like, oh, it's not that the joke wasn't landing. Oh, it's just that I'm talking absurdly fast. Like, oh, I'm going way too quick. The pace of this video or the pace of the communication is off. So there's other weird things there. But as far as you being on camera, the best thing to do, I think, is whenever there's any awkward parts, to have fun with those awkward parts. To acknowledge that everyone's an awkward mess, and you could just have fun regardless, essentially. But I do feel that people can get caught in a comparison trap, essentially, of like, well, those people are so seamless and funny, and it's like, yeah, well, just let go. That's how they got there, is by showing up, trying, adjusting slightly for what they didn't like, and with you editing yourself, you're gonna have plenty of moments where you can adjust back and realize, I don't know if I like when I say too many crazy things, or I mean, I want to say more crazy things, whatever it could be. What's good, Roller Cake? Roller Cake says, hey, Grin, what's good, Roller Cake? Hope you're having a lovely day. Lone Singer says, also, Grin, have you been playing Saints Row by any chance? I have yet to do it, man. I've been getting too down deep into Tower Fantasy right now. I've been really trying to get some ground. I just got my gold pants today. I'm a little bit close to getting all my gold in my armor slots. But still, man, I haven't been able to play 2 games at once yet. I want to. I desperately want to go play Saints Row, but I'm in this weird place where I still want to, like, I need to keep making ground in the YouTube department stuff. And it's interesting because I constantly go back and forth where, like, I know I need to make content, but simultaneously I want to make content in the right, like, mindset, so that I create, like, a good habit, essentially. But simultaneously, I do feel like that kind of cannibalizes it in some way. Like, you do need to take time away to like, really go into something. But no, most of this last week, even though I haven't uploaded a video since the last one we made, I've these last 3 days, I've been just basically aggregating a ton of information about who my audience is, and I'm finally starting to get an understanding of who that audience is. Then the next step is to take all that data, and then to try to be like, okay, well, what would that person genuinely connect with, and what do I honestly want to make, or can I, like, make something that I want and then customize it to them. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. But also, I'm trying to be more, as a human, I'm trying to be more comfortable with realizing that it's not gonna necessarily be fast. I have a deep desire to, like, want to move quicker, and I want, if, like, there's a sacrifice that I need to make to move quicker, I'll do it. But at the end of the day, that's not how the world works. You can't just, like, say, hey, I'll take off 10 years of my life and I'll have success. It's like, no, it's about significant effort over time that will yield you what you desire. But it's also like, it's not gonna feel fast. And I kind of known that for my whole life. Like, you can't change in a moment. You have to change over a massive amount of time. You can't learn something in one day. You have to learn something throughout weeks and then apply it and memorize it and think through how it could apply, and then you'll create more neurological pathways in the brain, and then it'll stick. But for me, who's a person who wants to get as good as he possibly can, as fast as he possibly can, yeah, it's hard for me to be like, it's okay that I only, like, I'm starting to forget some of these things, and I'll need to go back and review, because it's like, yeah, but in my head, I'm like, I want to know it all now. I want to apply it all now. I want to be able to account for all the variables now, and yeah, it's not. If you do that, then you're just gonna not be good at anything. Like, it's much better to go slow, apply a lot, and then do it. But it also means that things take significantly more time. I know it doesn't really. I know it's not really what you were saying about Saints Row, but, like, I basically, like, I still am in a state in which I haven't been able to comfortably. I don't even want to play most things. You know, it's like, it's not that I don't want to play the games. It's just that I'm so focused on this one thing. It's almost like, the best way to describe it is, if anyone's ever did sports or competition or anything like that, it's almost like you're playing a game, whether it's like a boxing match or it's like a football match or a basketball match, if you ever done anything sports-wise, but you really, really want to win. That's the thing. It's not just like, oh, I'm participating in basketball, because I used to play basketball. It's not like you're just participating in basketball and you're like, oh, we're gonna go fight the next town over in basketball, let's go do it. It's like, no, I want to beat the next town over so bad, and it's a month away. I'm playing to win. I'm training to win. But sometimes your knee fucking is hurting you, and you're like, why the fuck is my knee hurting? Get tough, bitch. Like, don't give out on me. You fix it. You just somehow work out, and like, you move forward. And then the reality is, it says, like, that's not how that works. Like, your knee's just gonna get more fucked up, my friend. You need to slow down. Make sure you're getting good at what you want to get good at. Make sure you're focusing on the performance that you can do, not necessarily the variables around you, because you can't control that. And yes, but yes. Last things that said in the chat said, but I'll be heading to bed now. Chat more another time, and I'll let you know more about the video. Yeah, I would love to see when the video comes out. Don't you hold out on me, you fucking critical bastard. You're gonna be like, oh, it's not good enough. Fuck you. Let me see it. But ladies and gentlemen, on the topic of what we just talked about, I did want to ask you guys about a couple things. So, has anyone... Okay, how do I phrase this properly? What do you guys think about stoicism? I know a lot of you guys, or possibly. I just know that stoicism or stoics have been in the news a lot recently. I first heard about it kind of and largely through PewDiePie, who got really into, like, the Greeks, philosophy and stuff like that. And of course, I recently seen on a lot of podcasts this person come in who is like he just like studies Greek philosophy Greek philosophy a lot. He talks about all those kinds of things. I recently just seen a video from him. It's called like the Daily Stoic, I think it was called. And I watched a video from him, and I subscribed to him a while ago when I seen him talk about like one of the best rulers, or one of the craziest rulers on the in the planet. I forget what his name is, but yeah, he basically wrote a book called Meditations. Like the most powerful man in the world basically wrote a book about meditations in the height of the Greek Empire, or something like that. And he was talking about him as a person and all these other things, and I thought, wow, it's really cool. Anyways, he had a video that was just released, not just released, I just watched it in the sidebar of my videos, but it was basically the 50 Stoic philosophy takeaways to think about, or like to take with you to have a good life. It was like 50 rules for life for Stoics, essentially, or something like that. And I will say it is seemingly getting more like, it's getting more labeled in a weird way, which I'm not sure if is perfect, but yeah, like the Stoicism thing is getting kind of like social media-fied to some extent, which is fun, but also kind of like, I don't know if it doesn't feel right at the same time. Anyways, the reason why I bring it up is because I was seeing the video about it, like 50 reasons to apply these things to your life. Like one of the things from the Stoic philosophy is basically take whatever you can control and whatever you can't control, and completely forget about the stuff you can't control, because you can do nothing about it. Best you can do is just let it go, forget about it, focus on the things you can control. Another kind of building off of that was focus on your personal performance and not the variables around your environment, because you can't control those things. But what you can control is what you do, how you react. Another thing that it said, which I thought was something that I've always believed, is like it takes two to tango. So being offended is not just on the party that was being offensive, it is also on the party that is offended. So like, and I've always thought this way of like, oh well, if I've had a trauma from a word or a person that they used to like, if I had a bully that used to say a word to me, which did happen, and I used to really hate when someone called me this word, and I used to have a bad reaction to it. And part of it is on me from holding that pain still, from like keeping this bully's horrible words that used to tell me alive, and realizing that I shouldn't give people the power to do this to me. I can choose to like let this go, to work through this, to figure out a way to like not let this word have so much power and hurt over me. So then you develop yourself and you try to understand, like, why do I feel like this describes me, and why do I feel like I dislike this word? And then you let it go, and you like no longer get hurt by someone saying that, or at the very least you can control the pain that is being coming from this person, because they don't know your situation or your life. Probably not trying to hurt you this deeply. So you take kind of ownership over being offended as well. And that was just one of the things that came from that. But largely, the reason why I bring it up is because I was thinking a lot of people I've always heard through podcasts about how so much of life and so much of like the Western world is the morality of the Western world is entirely due to a religion to some extent, like the empowering path of religion. Like it's permeated our whole society, and it's given us like a lot of value structure. And I've always thought, yeah, I don't disagree that it helped a great deal. But also, if you look at a lot of things, what correlates with morality and a lot of things is the technological evolution of technology. You look at the curve basically, and a huge contributor for less suffering in the world is how efficient you get at creating things that can do jobs easier, so that there's no need for any sort of pain, or that it's just stupid to even participate in pain, because why do you need to have manual labor when you could just have machines that could completely cut down the manual labor down to one person minding the machine, and you're fine. So it kind of helped with the suffering thing. But anyways, I people always say that, like, you even see, I think it's a subconscious thing within a lot of human beings as well. Like every American president, I believe, was a Christian, and yet people are like, I think, but also 90% of people who vote, or who are voting, etc., in both countries, consider themselves to, I think, be religious adjacent. Like they don't have any feelings or inclinations about anything. They're not sure about anything, is what usually I believe the highest stat is. But yet there's all these things, and to me I was like, I mean, I don't know, I kind of grew up in a slightly I don't know. My parents were very loosey goosey with it. They were like, there might be a God. We hope. Hopefully, he takes care of us, and that's about it. We didn't go and learn the Bible. It was nothing like that. So to me, I always wondered, like, if I ever had a son or a daughter, what would be the thing that I would condition to teach them? And after like watching this quickie video, which maybe is too soon to have a fully formed thought on, I thought the Stoics did a really good job about like actually giving you, like, to me, in many ways, they didn't beat around the bush. They were like, hey, like, let go of things you cannot control because it's pointless. Like a lot of their things to me rang way more true and way more hit me than some of the things I heard a lot in the Bible and all these kinds of things. So, or heard from people who read the Bible and told me about them, etc. So to me, I don't know. I just felt it was kind of it was a beautiful idea that these thoughts and these takes on life were developed such a long time ago, and how I was like, oh no, I think we would have been fine. I think humanity would have been largely pretty okay, because as long as we have people that are, over time gaining wisdom and all these things and sharing that with others, I think humanity would have been fine without various constructs, etc. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I wasn't sure if anyone else had looked into Stoics. I see Bolty popped in and said, last time I heard about Stoicism was at school, and that was a long time ago. Yeah. Well, I was about to say, one of the things that's rough, and I entirely realize that it is like, to me, it's, as much as I like, when I'm listening to like these Stoicism remarks and all these things that are beautiful and lovely, and like, oh my God, they're so, like, it's such a human value, like such a wonderful principle to live by. All that. And then I understand the criticism that I hear nobody really levy against some of the philosophers of the, like, back in time. But a lot of people in the Greek and Roman Empire diddled kids. And it's like, kind of like, I don't know if I want to be taking moral grandeur from people who do that, but it's like, I don't know, dude. It's like a good way to ruin the whole fucking, it just pollutes the pool. I just like, it's just one drop in the, it's like, oh, you have so much wisdom and wiseness. Oh, you did what? Oh, I kind of don't want to know anymore. But simultaneously, it's just like everyone throughout history did some horrible, horrible thing. Like, there's no person, I think, who is just like, yeah. Because also, it's one of these other things that's kind of like a point of contention within judging people in the past is every generation gets more and more empathetic, it seems like, whether it's through the adage of technology or the wisdom of a collective, who knows. But every person, like, it's like people will probably judge all of us. This is something I heard from a podcast, which I really thought was clever, and I want to know what you guys think about it. A lot of people think that, like, what would be, because every generational, huge generational jump has had something that the past could look upon and think is demonstrous because we didn't grow up in the environment in which that was somehow okay. Like, everyone didn't have an issue with this, so clearly what would be the likelihood that you would be? Like, you look at, Nazi Germany or something like that, and you see that, like, oh, would everybody, like, no, 90% of people who were in this environment kind of just went with the flow, because they're like, I don't know, this is just what you do. Which is not a good excuse, but it's a good understanding for, oh, wait, human beings are very subjugated by their environment and what is right. Anyways, but the question was what would people be judging us for now, as harshly as some people judge, I think Abraham Lincoln or whatever, couple of those people still had, slaves essentially. And people were like, they're monsters, absolutely burn them alive. Or a better example is, I think, Abraham Lincoln, if you look at some of the things he said, he still said some sketchy things. Like, he didn't believe, I think, that black people were equal to white people. He just believed that they shouldn't be slaves or something like that. And it's like, people are like, what a monster. And it's like, well, for the time, that's pretty liberal. Like, so it's weird, but it's like, it sounds kind of corrupt as well, but you need to judge people by the environment in which they were around. So if the liberal people today, or liberal people back in the day, would probably be the farthest right, like, not right, like left versus right. I hate when people dissolve it into those categories, but what people traditionally think is like conservative versus very open to whatever, would be extremely conservative today, because each generation kind of pushes the envelope more and more and more. And each generation forgets the fact that that's the case. But what if we just stayed here? And it's like, no, it's your job. You're gonna have kids one day, or grandkids, or nephews and nieces. They're gonna be out there fucking gunning it. They're gonna be out there for like even crazier hairstyles, even crazier whatever, and just be like, hell yeah. And you just gotta be like, get a king, queen, whatever. Whatever you want me to call you. I don't care. I'm gonna go fucking sit down in a park. I'm gonna go hang out. Whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, sorry. The one thing that the podcast I listened to said that was going to be our version of what people look back at us and criticize us greatly for, or look at us as monsters for, especially considering as technologically it's going to go further and further and further. Eventually, people are speculating that we might live in a world where either two things happen. Either we have very, very minuscule carbon footprint, whatever that be, like, gas gets fixed, hopefully. A lot of car companies are investing a shit ton in electric vehicles. It's still producing a lot of pollution, but sure, maybe they fix that because we've had such a long time with gas, and maybe now that we have electric, people will be able to solve those problems in the same way that they kind of helped address some of the problems that gas cars had, given they have enough time to adapt. Anyways, but the other thing is people say that it would be meat. So, like, how we eat meat right now? Well, maybe in the future they could create a synthetic meat that is undistinguishable than actual meat, in which no suffering has to take place, in which is even better for you. It's even stronger for you. It's efficient. It's perfect. And people might look upon us and be like, how could they? How could they? Like, they knew this was happening. There's 50 fucking documents on Netflix telling you how these poor animals are getting ripped to shreds. And if you're like me, who can't watch 1 second of them because you'd fucking break, then yeah. And that was their determination of that. And I thought that was really interesting. Where I was just like, if we can solve some of those issues, then yeah, I couldn't see how people couldn't look back at us and think, how could they? But also we could have the same argument to some of the people who justify horrible actions in the past, which was like, it was what was taught to me as a kid. Like it was not bad. It was just, this is just how it was. Like we can't judge me for like my environment telling me that this was 100% okay. I never really took part in it, or if I did, it was once. It's the same thing that you would be saying about, like, oh, I ate meat, but if I knew it was like I had to kill it myself, or I seen the suffering, I wouldn't do it. I say this as a person who eat meat, by the way. I'm not trying to judge people who eat meat. I just think it was one of those interesting things to me where I was like, yeah, I think that makes sense. I'm not sure if anyone else has any. I can't really think. It's too hard to think about. Like, to think about what could the future and technological evolution evolve to where we would be the bad guys in whatever regard that be. I don't know. Also, side note, how have you finished Saints Row at this point? That clicked with me, by the way. Sorry, I'm so selfish. I talked about me so much. Sorry. Oh man, I was gassing out. I will say, man, I don't know if this thing is killing me or if it's really helping me, but these gamer sub things, I'm not sure if I'm hooked on them or if it's because I'm sick and they're giving me a little more brain juice that it's helping me. But a lot of times I feel like gassed out, like mentally broken, and I have them, and I could be placebo, man. I don't even know if it's working at all, but I just know that recently it's been pretty good. It's been pretty, like, the days when I'm feeling like completely I think it's because I'm sick and my brain is so low, and like I said, it brings you up to like kind of normal, but it also makes your high less, kind of squeezes them together. But yeah. Also, the chat is completely frozen because there was a lot there. I realized nobody wants to really probably engage with any of that, or I didn't do a good job of explaining it. Probably that too. Let's see. It says, my guess, if I had to make one, what are we gonna get to the point in time where we can bioengineer real life anime girls? Let's get it. Let's go. That's the funniest thing, man. I think that's not too far off. I think the thing that's holding us back is old ass people. That's what I think. Because we already had those weird stories of like gene splicing, and like they already have like a gene splicer essentially, where they were able to like literally take the chemical, whatever, that like gets rid of the by the way, it's not an argument for like it's possible now to have it. I'm saying it's possible to start the process of creating a superhuman. I'm not sure about anime girl. I don't know why we'd want a real. Lone said, do you realize how fucking disgusting a real life anime girl would be? It'd be fucking the worst thing on the planet, my friend. It'd be fucking egregious, okay? It'd have freakishly big eyes. Its skin would be freakishly like glossed and like perfect. Like, it would look creepy. It would look like a fucking doll. It would give you uncanny valley vibes. No. But real life yandere all day. What? You want someone to want to murder you and be into it? I think you just want someone to love you and fight for you, Stitch. Or not Stitch, Bolty, sorry. Got lost. Not even the same color. My brain's just off. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, right. Yeah, I think the whole gene splicing thing could exist, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of weird stuff happening right now where it's just like, I don't know. People are weird. People are saying stuff like, you know, how dare you tweak human life or something, and it's just like, you mean when people have like, what if people are born with cancer or like some sort of like hereditary diabetes or something? And it's just like, what? What do you mean? The world's cruel as fuck. Why does one person who has a crazy good genetic pool be able to dominate, or the one people? Yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird. I, for one, embrace designer babies as a fucked up human as my hands and my brain a little bit. Yeah, it is what it is. Preach sounds yummy. What? What? Lone Zinkin says, also, speaking of gamer subs, I tried G Fuel for the first time. At the store, I got it for you got it for a drink. Had 2 flavors in stock, and I tried them both. Tetris Blast and Sonic the Hedgehog peach rings. Was it good? Was it good? And I'm not sure, did you end up ordering gamer subs or any of them? Because I want to know how they compare, because I haven't actually tried G Fuel in comparison to gamer subs. G Fuel and gamers. I haven't tried the difference of them. Have you noticed like any sort of performance type thing, or did you ever notice a performance thing? Peach sounds. Dude, peach is good in everything. I personally like nectarines more than I do peach. And, well, I don't know. I like the fruit nectarine more than I'm not sure if anyone's able really to calcify nectarine taste in a drink. Peach is just good though. But yeah. Do you guys like peaches more or nectarines? Because I feel like as like a fruit, it's a nectarine. As like a fruit that can go in a drink, then it's peach. As a professional iced tea connoisseur, okay. Man, iced tea always hits different, but at the same time, I don't know, man. Iced tea also, yeah, iced tea is a trap. Iced tea is like Diet Coca-Cola, where people just drink it all day and they just guzzle it, and it's just like, hey, drink water. You're drinking sugary water, okay? Drink water. At least me and Lone Syndicates, you know, gamer sups or whatever you want to call it. Is sugar free, or at least mine one is, the gamer sup one. It might have like something worse than aspartame in it, but you know. Shut up. Leave me alone. Lozig says, also, to answer your question referring to the Saints Row, I have not played it for about a week. I got kind of bored, not gonna lie, but you don't have the urge to finish it, to just end it. You're almost there. I think you're almost 80% of your joint operations. You're not joint operations. Your fucking operations. Your little criminal masterminds. You're not just ready to go. Done. Also, how crazy do some of the abilities get? Because you're probably pretty deep into that game. What are the abilities? What are your favorite abilities? And what are the best ones also in Saints Row out of all the ones you unlock? Because not a lot of the ones I've seen were too good. Some of them were like gun kata, which seemed kind of neat. Which is where you just like spin around with guns and bullets and shit, and it kind of misses everything, but you look cool. But I feel like I'm just gonna default to like using whatever is extremely good. Like there was one where like you just hit a button, you get a fuck ton of armor, and I'm like, why would I not just use this and use a damage equivalent and just like pop, and you're supercharged essentially. Lozig says, never ordered gamer subs because I was trying to save as much for the PS5 that you got for free. Did anything happen with that free PS5? Or are you still locking it in? It's still probably pretty good that you got for free. Madness. But since I maybe got it for free, I'm gonna get paid soon. I'm trying to get some flavor. Yeah, go dabble a little bit. That's funny. Boldy says, as fruit nectars and drink peach. So I'm the same boat. I will never sin and drink disgusting lemon iced tea. I've never tried. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of lemon. Lemon just hurts my throat. It's like, yeah, it's gone. It got so much in it. Lemon iced tea. Lone Singer says, as far as the flavor, I wasn't too crazy about the Tetris Blast, but Peach Ring was one of the good. Weird. It's so weird that Sonic. I'd always be terrified to try like the special Sonic flavors because I'd be like, what if this is like the bomb, and like it's a fucking niche thing that's gonna go away in a month because the collaboration is dead. That'd be shit. That'd be really shit. That's probably definitely like the marketing strategy for them though. Is like, I love this one so much, I'm gonna buy like 15 because I know they're gonna go away. So then you just get, instead of like a cozy 60% sale, they get like a $300 sale, and the person's like, I got all of it forever. GRINN, I am only 60% done the game, and that's mainly open world stuff. I'm still only like 1/3 of the whole. Sounds like you about 40% almost there. That's what you tell me. Okay. You better get on it. Because you're 40% to victory. Okay. 40% feet away from success. Okay. So you said the open world stuff doesn't have that high stakes feel. Like they are rewarding and there is reason to do them, but the activities themselves are so. Yeah, I was about to say the open world stuff sounds funny, but in all the Saints Row games, the best way to do the activities is to put on a podcast and just bang them out as fast as fuck. Just one night, bang, bang, bang. All of the ragdoll ones done. Mayhem, bang, 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 done. All the mayhem ones done, and you just go through the paces. You know, your boy used to make Saints Row videos about all of the activities, and I did all of them. And actually, that was one of the best. I was, out of all the videos I should have like looked at what worked well in those videos. I do. It's funny as it is. I do think you can go backwards in some ways, like when it comes to creating content, because I do think about that, and I think those videos I did pretty well about like not being too overbearing, but also having fun, but also providing something that was like pretty useful for like years to come, because people were going to constantly be playing this and constantly get the achievement for grinding out these. So I thought, well, I'll make a video explaining how to get the best star rating in all of the activities. So then I did that, and those videos did really well, and I was like, neat. And then I completely went in the wrong direction. I started making like Destiny Nightfall guides or something, or Nightfall things, and I was like, the thing that changes every week and is not going to be Googled. What? And also you took a Red Bull every single time you made a video, so you talk like at the speed of light, like this. Yeah, not the good. Not the good. Also, what was the other game? There was ZZZ. Let me see. I think I have one more game I want to run it by you guys because it looked kind of cool. Oh, we got that, and we got that, and we got this. I didn't save it apparently, but instead we got Forspoken, which looks pretty cool. This. Yeah, Forspoken, man. Apparently you get 100 spells. 100 spells you can get to cast. It looks cool. I'll be honest, I'm just desperate for another Infamous Second Son, or another Infamous game, and this is gonna be my quick fix. Okay. I will say though, I have no prejudice in my heart for this woman on screen. I will say her hair and a lot of, like, whenever I see her running around the overworld, that's actually a pretty good shot. Actually, that's the first time I've seen her hair put in a bun. Looks cute. But largely when she's just running around the when she's just running around the overworld, she looks weird. Like the facial mapping and shit looks like very like rugged, and she looks like everything looks dense. I really hope, yeah, I really hope like shit like that. I really hope I could just put like one of these where like a giant, you know, like the Dark Souls 2 helmet that looks like classic knight helmet with more like serrated edges. If I could just pop one of those on her, and like some cool like armor like from Assassin's Creed, the Egyptian one, where like you just have like, it looks like techno future but also techno mythology kind of thing. If I could just slot a thing on her, and I could just kind of vicariously play like this cool like Samus character, which is like a lady but she's fucking looking like geared to the teeth, I would love it. Because the cloak, I'm not sure about it. If I could put the hood up, I'm in, but I don't know if you can. Actually, it just looks. I haven't seen the trailer actually all the way through. This actually, I'm going on. I always seen like images from her from like fighting bosses, and your character just looks like a Ken doll or like a weird doll like thing where she just like. I can see her face is like completely hollow, and I see her like hair coming down, and she just like this, like. When you see her casting spells and she just looks like a stick almost, it look weird. It doesn't have any fluidity to it, and I just want to put a helmet on her so she can looks like I'm like good. I don't need to see the facial shit because it's hidden behind a helmet. I did the same shit when I was doing Fallout 5. Had some of the worst mouth tracking I've ever seen. Nothing matched. So I always would just, especially with my main character, I would just put a face mask on him so I didn't have to see it anymore. So I'm like, yeah, that makes sense because you know you can't see shit. Yeah. Losing says, as far as the abilities of the game in Saints Row, the best one by far is the one that gives you super armor, and the one where you can create this hologram wall that when you shoot through it, there's more damage, you can shoot through it. Yeah, I seen that one. I was hoping that it would be more creative like that. It'd be cool if, like, again, if you could like snap your fingers and call in like two allies, just like that, like, are up for 15 seconds, and then just kind of mow down people, or like you call in like SWAT saints, or you just like there's one where you can chuck a bomb, a grenade. So yeah, there's a lot of those kinds of ones. Also, man, this game looks fucking wild. Moments like that where I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good game. This is gonna be a good time. This is gonna be a really good time. Do you guys see that? Just look at the screen for a little bit. She just jumps. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, she grapples. She got a little bit of a weird Batman thing. Look at that. That's what I mean. Where you're just like, when like things are flying by your face and shit. Ooh, clean. Looking clean. The only thing that would make this better if there was a co-op feature and we could all fuck around and like fly around like little weird spider monkeys. All the other ones either suck or don't work as intended. Yeah, I know what you're saying with that too. The super armor, is that the one I'm talking about, where like you get it pretty early on? It's like a 13th level up you get, and you just you basically just put on like a shit ton of armor, and you can just keep spamming it. You just keep putting on armor. And I was thinking, this seems breakable. Like, you could just keep spamming armor. The only thing that sucks is you can't over armor. I would have loved if you could have like 3 stacks of armor, but instead, if you use it, it just overwrites the damage. Which, if you have no damage, it's kind of a waste. But yeah, I was thinking to myself, like, I'm not sure if you can ever go beyond like a grenade. But it would be very cool if you could like hit a button and like call in a bruiser or something. Because that's the one thing a lot of it's like, so you as a person get like in a bonus, like you can punch the wall, or like you do a super fist punch, which is like on fire. And I'm like, okay, you know. But I was hoping for more like gaudy things, even though I hope that they're still there. I mean, you're at 60%, so you maybe haven't unlocked all of it. But knowing you've done a lot of the game, I think you've got probably a lot of the upgrades. But yes. Yeah, this looks good. This is the first gameplay that I've seen that actually looks like it's not only challenging, but like pretty sequenced. Also, the magic looks very cool. Yeah. I feel like it might... Well, no, I don't know. I was about to say it might actually go beyond Saints Row. Or sorry, maybe go on Infamous. Maybe going beyond my love for Infamous. But I hyped up Saints Row a good bit, and I was quite disappointed. I don't think unjustly so. I also just got railed with bugs, so, you know, could just be me. But this game, however, no, they both got delayed. I was about to say this game got delayed, so higher hopes, but so did Saints Row by a lot, and it still wasn't enough. Anyway, but you got a little cute board, and you can like, you know, skip around, and it seems fun. I really do hope there's outfits, because If she was covered in like plate mail armor, or not like rogue like fucking armor, I'd be into it. Also, the story seems wholesome to me. One of the things that I've always loved about the story of games. Oh, you do get only clothes? Oh, I hope it'd be more. Anyways, yeah, the one thing I love about these stories is that like your bracelet is like a British companion that's talking to you throughout your journey. Which some people have said that it's a little quippy, it's a little like annoying, but I've always, even people who say like Shadows of the Dam is quippy, I've loved that game to bits. So I don't really ever feel like, I always like the like my sidekick companion that's always got a goofy fun thing to say, you know? I fell in love with that first with Shadows of the Dam, and then later like with Portal 2. Portal 2 with Johnson. In fact, the game got significantly less fun when GLaDOS and whatever his name was not with you. Bodhi says, I'm at 38k CS in Tower Fantasy now, and I'm gonna head to sleep. Thank you so much for stopping by, Bodhi. That's insane. I was gonna say, go to sleep. I'll tell it once again. Also, there's a lot of armor. Sorry. What do you call it? The one thing I was gonna say was, I don't know how you go beyond that, because right now I could see the path for like my main step right now is I'm finally able to do level like joint operations in which give me legendary armor, which is cool. But I don't know what comes after that. Like after I get all my armor, I don't think I'm gonna get 30k from my armor itself. So I don't know if it's just about like running them back to back, and then you eventually just keep burning resources into your armor. Maybe. And then you have like 5 gold piece armors. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, you can just keep leveling up your armor. Granted, you get better armor like crit rate and stuff like that. So yeah, the hunt for armor actually probably never changes. I will say matrices to me, I've got 2 legendaries in my whole time playing, and I've been grinding the ones where it's like, hey, gives you a chance at a legendary matrice, and I haven't got shit. Also, it sucks because I want to get like even purple ones. I'd just take a purple one that's normal. It's like, hey, here's this one, gives you a little more damage. I'd be like, yeah, thanks, but nothing comes out. It's shitty. But alas, ladies and gentlemen, it is in fact. Oh wait, no, you guys are all playing. I have 3 35-star armor. Yeah, so yeah, I'm about to say yeah, 3 stars. So that's probably the next jump is like armor on armor as well as matrices, which is a slow process, at least for you, boy. Well, it could be a faster process if I do Wormhole, but Wormhole is a fucking nightmare. Also, Wormhole is harder than you'd think. It's like it's sort of harder. Well, it's harder, yeah. I find I can only do like a certain amount of it. I have 3 to 5 star armor SSR pieces, and my matrices also suck. Okay, so you're saying I have. Okay, armor. Okay, but no. What's your weapons at? Be able to before you leave me. What's the weapons? What level are your weapons at? Like, do you have any SSRs that are like three dupes of an SSR or anything like that? Fluff says, you'll probably want to hunt for the ideal roll on each armor piece and then have the max out the star, which will boost your CS a fair bit. The question is, Fluff, do I aspire towards? I guess it wouldn't matter. I guess you'd just be whatever you get. I was about to say, do I aspire for my future team, which will be fire-based, hopefully, or physical-based, hopefully, or do I just build for what I have right now, but I don't really want to use more of? I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, do we have anyone that we could go raid? Anyone that you'd suggest? Because it is time to wind down. I'm gonna go try to exercise. Holy fuck, man, I'm not doing great. My nose is locked in, stuffed. Oh, my ears just popped. Oh, it was not a good idea to do that while I just yawned. Yeah. Bodhi says, my bow is 5-star. Oof. Oof, yeah, Bodhi, that's something to say. You should just say, my armor is 3 and 5, but you got a bow that is 5-star. Woof. And you got a king sight that is 3-star. And you're 1 frig. But still, that 5-star bow probably will have a fuck ton of CS. Gives about 6k. I was about to say a good bit. But the most of the CS is coming from, I've heard people say that a good bit of it comes from dupes and armor. That's what I heard. My ears are popped as fuck, man. I'm not unpopping either. Which is freaking me out. Fluff says matrices are higher rarity and star rating, will also increase CS a bit differently. Hold onto pieces that will be benefited for the future. Yeah, probably both. Losing is a 5-star bow with John. Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, I best I can do is 2. The 2. Max stars, SRs are a way to cheese the CS numbers suppressor. Yeah, I was about to say they just make everything else working. Now, it's not to say that like Bolty has been kicking ass taking names, by the way. I don't want to diminish Bolty's effort, by the way. But yeah, it's like those are 2 things I see here people say a lot of. Because weirdly enough, people say suppressor, and that is true. But I also think it's very limited. See, like your suppressor gets nuked very quickly, where it's like it's weird. Like it's like level 40. You be level 45 to get the next upgrade. You say cool, you hit level upgrade, and then it's like you need level 35 CS, and you're like, what? What? Are you insane? And maybe it's because in global things are XP is gained more. But yeah, it still seems like that's bullshit. I think it's way off scaly wise. Because I'm still like I'm like level 60 and I'm still at 50 and my CS is like you need to have 27 CS and I'm like what? I just massively eclipsed the level aggregation of was it 50 something on my suppressor thing. Also, I have plenty of suppressor parts, and I haven't even done the story yet, so I'm kind of like, well, shit. It's the CS that's killing me. Flash says, I'm falling deeper into the CP 2077 rabbit hole, modding rabbit hole. I love it. I want updates. And now it includes my other inescapable rabbit hole. I added some VTuber deck replacements. Of course, there'd be mods that put VTubers in a fucking cyberpunk, a dystopian future. Not dystopian, but like a futuristic, advertisement-heavy future. Of course, companies would get their grubby hands on VTubers, pure innocent VTubers. Your suppressor is important for exploration, and then after you max it out, it shifts to upgrade and amplify, which I'm guessing is mostly for stat boosting. Yeah, I just find my suppressor, I'm like capped out on it. Like it's always limited by CS, and you're like, well, shit. Like I have plenty of suppressor modules. I'm locked in with that. Well, it's because I just hit 22K. Speaking of, I should hop on and do daily. Yeah, yeah, man. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. I feel inefficient, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm making good ground, King. I'm doing good. Okay, don't be judging me. Okay. I think we don't have anyone to go raid. Could we just one of these days where we wind down? I don't think we have anyone on the list. Let's see. Raid. Nope, I clipped nothing. Fuck me. God damn it. I got nothing. Well, I got nothing. We already rated a lot of people who I seen. If y'all point them out, then maybe we could just wind down. I will say we talked about some. I don't know. The whole stoic shit was a lot. I'm not sure if I was able to convey. I just thought it was real cool, basically. And I know a lot of it's getting like a popular fad right now, but I definitely thought it was a cool way to think about things. Yeah. It starts when Aki Resalfel, I can't read that, was the first Hololive member to stream Cyberpunk, so she was also the first to be modded in. That's awesome. Yeah, I think Rue was doing. Should we stream Rue? I feel like we maybe streamed her too much. Or rated her too much. She may be like, hey, it's this guy again. It's doing art. That'd be fun. Art will be cool. Yeah, I feel like why not? Just go tell someone loving things. That's good. Let's go raid her. She's always. I clipped something again. Fuck! I keep hitting the wrong button. Ladies and gentlemen, go have a great time. You were nothing but lovely. I appreciate everyone for hanging out with me. We will be streaming Tower Fantasy tomorrow. Grinding Void Rift. Hopefully it's not a fucking horrible boss. Or Fortress Clash. And I don't know if we're going to be doing raids. I would like to do raids, but I feel like we don't have quite as much of a clan to pop off just yet. It's also just people on at the same time we're playing. So yeah. We'll see. But anyways, go tell Rue that she's nothing but lovely because she's always been sweet to us, especially whenever we raid her. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for your time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night, and goodbye.